WingWing made some big announcements during last year's Flight Sim Expo for their new lineup of flight sim hardware to be released in 2024 and 2025. Many simmers mentioned that the WingWing announcements were one of the most exciting of the expo in terms of affordability, innovative flight sim hardware. In today's video, we're going to take a look at one of their offerings that was highlighted by WingWing at the expo, and that's the WingWing Ursa Minor joystick. This is set to compete in the entry level of joysticks for flight simulation, so let's jump into the video. A quick disclaimer, the Ursa Minor used in this video was provided by WingWing, who asked nothing in return while providing it to me. I contacted them a while back asking them that I would like to check it out and make a video about it. As with all of my review videos about products, they are all my own opinions and thoughts, and I will showcase products for what they are with my own opinions. If you are not familiar with WingWing, they founded in 2003 and are located in Chengdu, China. Although WingWing is only a division of the main company, they started to specialize in research and development in 2013 for the sale of flight simulation training devices. WingWing actually means in the Chinese language, win of wings for victory. Not only has WingWing delivered flight simulation products, but they first started by creating Cessna 172 and Diamond DA40 and DA42 simulators. Their first flight sim peripherals were really suitable for combat and space flights when it comes to their joysticks and HOTASs. During this year's Flight Sim Expo, the team announced they were extending its range into airliner controls, including Airbus and Boeing panels, and the entry-level Ursa joystick range, and some other future force feedback products. The Ursa range of joysticks comes in a few different variants, including the Minor Space, the Fighter, and of course the Minor Airline, which is based on a Airbus style of joystick. They come in two different versions, including a right and a left-handed version, which are sold separately. The Ursa range is set at the recommended retail price, or the MRP, depending on which country you're from, 135.83 AUD, 85.75 USD, and 67.50 pounds sterling, and 81 euros, which places it in the range with direct competitors such as the Thrustmaster TCA side stick and the Logitech 3D Pro. In this video, we are not going to showcase the comparison between all the three of the joysticks, but it is worth mentioning the other options that are available in a similar price bracket. The WingWing Ursa Minor comes with a streamlined Airbus base design with a backlit light that can be programmed to produce a couple of different lighting effects. From a standpoint, just looking at the Ursa standing on your desk, it does look attractive in the flight sim sense. The actual joystick itself runs on top of a ABS engineered plastic pincer gimbal for smoother control, which I will talk about later in the video. The X and Y axis movement is up to 15 degrees with an operating force of 6 newtons. The Z axis rotation angle is plus 20 rotation each side, and it has a torque up to 4 kgf. And if you're like me, you don't really know what 4 kgf means. It feels pretty good. It is in comparison to other joysticks on the market when it comes to using the Z axis left and right for rudder steering. And also includes a potentiometer meter axis, which is available to travel up to 38 millimeters, most of which you'll probably use this for a throttle if you didn't have a throttle with your flight sim setup. It has 15 programmable buttons, a 5-way hat switch, which can be covered up with a magnetic cover that is provided if you really want a true Airbus experience. It has one trigger button which can be used for foxing missiles or blowing someone's spaceship up, or sometimes you can be boring like me and use it like a brake. But last but not least, it has a little red button that can be used for a autopilot disconnect. The Ursa includes a vibration motor, which is something that we haven't seen at this price level before. It's not a force feedback by any means, it's more of a haptic feedback. There is profiles that you can use to set this up that are included in the software, but that being said, I only could find certain aircraft that you could actually use this with. When it comes to the feel and look of the Ursa, it looks good and it feels good, but one thing I will mention is I'm not a fan of the 14 lowerable program buttons. They function fine, but they feel a little bit cheap in my opinion. They feel a little bit hard and they move around a little bit. That being said, it is a entry level joystick, but it sticks out a bit in my opinion compared to the other parts of the joystick itself. The Ursa includes an adjustable dry clutch dampener, which can be accessed through the bottom of the joystick if you want to be able to tighten or loosen the X and Y. The X and Y gimbal is made up from a glass fiber reinforced nylon with a plastic pincer gimbal. This is my favorite part of the joystick, as the X and Y feel absolutely amazing for an entry level flight sim joystick, and it does compete with some of the high-end products that I've used. WingWing have done a really good job when it comes to the feeling and also the accuracy of the X and Y gimbal in my opinion. The Ursa base has 4 anti-slip pads for desktop use. I've never taken off the plastic seals off myself. The Ursa works fine on my desk setup. I have one of those larger end-to-end mouse mats and it works fine. In addition, the Ursa includes the option for it to be mounted on some different cockpit simulation options, and you do have a couple of bolts that are included to help you mount them if you had something like a next level racing cockpit. The Ursa connects to your PC by USB-C, and the cables is a suitable length that is provided in the box, but if you need something longer you can always pick it up yourself. Speaking of boxes, don't expect to receive a cool retail unboxing experience when picking up the WingWing products, and I guess WingWing is really saving some dollars in this department, as it is very well packed, but it is just a cardboard box. In this way, WingWing then has the option to pass on the savings to the consumer, and if that is the case, I'm definitely up with that. The WingWing Ursa is compatible with a variety of titles when it comes to flight simulations. They include War Thunder, Prepared 3D, DCS, X-Plane, and Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and now it's compatible just recently with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. I've used this Ursa for a while now, but I waited to complete this video until I've seen it working with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, because I assume that's probably what most people will use the Airbus version with. When connecting the Ursa to your PC, there is a program from WingWing called a Sim App Pro software, which can be used to set up the profiles and download community profiles that people have uploaded themselves that can be used in the sim. I found when I was using the Ursa, I could not use the Ursa in Flight Sim unless I started up the Sim app and loaded it up before I started the sim, which resulted in me having to restart the sim a few times because I did forget to start up Sim app, and that can be quite frustrating if you do it a couple of times in a row. And in addition, I found out that I couldn't use Sim app unless I logged in and signed up an account, which I wasn't a big fan of doing considering I actually had the joystick. I've used many third-party apps for customizing flight sim controls and found that the WingWing Sim app is not very intuitive at all. I will admit, but don't tell anyone, I didn't use or look at a manual. So this situation could probably have been avoided, but I've never looked at the manual anyways when it comes to third-party apps to use for peripherals or controls. I can usually pick up these apps straight away because they're very similar in most cases. But that being said, once I worked out how to load the profiles and get them into the Ursa up and working in the sim, I ended up just deleting everything in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 and just coming up with my own controls that I usually do with most of my joysticks or yokes. Now, I normally would throw you into some live footage of myself using the Ursa with a sim, conducting some circuits, but it's really hard to grasp from watching the video the feeling of the joystick. At the time of creating the video, I had a plus 25 hours. It's probably a lot more than that, but I thought it was willing to be on the safer side with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 and Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. And in summary, in my opinion, the WingWing has has a great offering here on the market for the price bracket that the Ursa has been represented at. The real two gripes I really have when it comes to the Ursa is the feel of the 14 programmable buttons. They do feel on the little bit of the cheap side and made with hard plastic that moves around a little bit. You have that little sort of a rattle, which hopefully I showed off in the video here. And also I'm not a fan of the Sim app, which definitely can be improved by WingWing over time. Everything else for a entry-level joystick is pretty solid when it comes to the Ursa Minor, and I'm very impressed with the feel and the accuracy of the joystick X and Y axis. I haven't had to make any adjustments whatsoever when it comes to dead zones or sensitivity. It just worked out of the box and it felt really good, and it performed to a higher level than what I've seen with other joysticks at this price range. All in all, if you are looking at picking up your first joystick for a PC flight simulation, I would recommend checking out the WingWing Ursa as one of your considerations. If you have any questions about the Ursa Minor joystick, please drop them in the comments below, and I'll do my very best to check out your comments. Or if you already have the Ursa, feel free to leave your opinions in the comments below, as this helps people make their mind up who may be in the market for their first starter joystick. I will leave a link in the description below if you want to check out some of the WingWing products. It's not an affiliate code by all means, it's just from their website. They do have a bunch of other products out there than just the Ursa Minor. And if you'd like to see more flight sim videos like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell so you get notified when we have released a video. And I will see you in another flight sim video real soon.